What did happen last night? I heard there was a little bit of shenanigans. Tell us, give us a little insight on the game last night.
Okay, so Rivermen went to Brooklyn last night. Essentially battled for first place. Identical records. I think scheduling wise, we had one more game played than them, but we've only had one loss each, and that was to each other. At one point, I think last week in the standings, Brooklyn was first. Whatever formula they used to work out goals for, goals against, whatever, they had us by one. So last night was a big game. It was basically a battle for first place, and we come out with an 11-5 or 11-6 victory. Game was called with 5 minutes and 5 seconds left in the third period. It was a little rough. I'll admit that it was a little rough. See, a couple of years ago, this big thing come out about abusive officials. They have the right to stop the game, kick out everybody, whatever. And there's been a slide in officiating as to like guys don't want to ref anymore. So we have the officiating numbers have dropped as far as how many officials are available. Last night, I don't know whether those guys are regularly scheduled. I don't know whether they could have refed a different senior game and we could have had other officials. I don't know. In my opinion only, there was a couple of suspect calls. But that goes without saying. Every team, every general manager is going to say that there was suspect calls. Long story short, the referee. There was words exchanged after a goal. There was words exchanged. There was penalties called. I was talking, actually standing at the other end of the arena, talking with the commissioner. We were having a little chat, and we saw the referee throw his helmet into our bench, into the Rivermen bench. We saw him throw his whistle, and he walked off. And we're like, "What the hell just happened?" Come to find out, they had words. He basically said, "If you think you can do a better job, go ahead." And threw his helmet and whistle into our bench and walked off. My question is, I don't know what was said. I was at the other end of the building. But what repercussions are there for him throwing his helmet and his whistle at our bench or into our bench?
I'd say he quit on the job, right? You think the OLA should do something in
Right.
line.
Well, you would think that. Okay, like let's take from like a structure standpoint. Like he did quit, but now you can be like, oh well, what's the OLA gonna do to say that like this isn't gonna happen again, and that this mistreatment isn't gonna continue?
Granted, my first thought is maybe it's a biased thought. What would happen if one of us did that to Brooklyn, threw a helmet and a whistle at their bench or into their bench?
No, definitely.
What would happen?
They get all pissed off, and
Would there be suspensions?
probably or something. Yeah,
probably.
definitely. Yeah, like
There would probably be suspensions, and they would probably do it in a way that would, make it not yours. It would you guys are doing pretty good, so that they would probably want to not see you do so good after that.
Well, I mean, I'll give the ref credit. It's a tough job because you're constantly getting yelled at by both teams, by the fans.
everybody hates the refs.
Everybody,
right?
everybody. You can be best friends with the ref off the floor, but on the floor, you're gonna hate him at some point, and I get it. And I as I got a little older, I've tried to reel myself in and say, okay, maybe he didn't see that because he has a different angle, stuff like that. But like we were reprimanded the night before about abusive language, swearing, arguing. We were reprimanded for that. So then one night later, there's this same ref standing at center floor, dropping F-bombs so the whole arena can hear him. I'm like, if you're going to call us out mid-game, please say something to this official because you don't want us to do it, but yet, our captain runs up and tries to get a definition of what happened. What's the call? Why did you call this? Did you see this? And he's told to shut the F up and get out of his face. Where's the quality there? If I can't swear at you, why can you swear at me?
Unprofessional on their part, right? Like, especially as a ref, you're not trying to make the situation worse or instigate it. You're there to kind of cool things down, make sure things run smoothly. So when you start cursing and kind of riling yourself up, you're just going to make the situation worse. Just like the guy the other night with the arrows. Why is the ref grabbing the Six Nations Arrows player? And you know what I mean? He should, if anything, let them fight the Mimico guy. Or
I was there for that. I was at the
Yeah.
game last night. Yeah.
So there's videos going around of the Arrows and Mimico from like a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
And in the video, you can see the refs are only grabbing Six Nations players.
Yeah.
Why are they not grabbing if you're trying to break up a fight, and I get it, there was 3 or 4 fights going on, 3 or 4 fights, 2 refs, I get it. You can only attend so many.
Yep.
I've seen it when you get a higher level, several fights break out, the refs just stand back and flip their notepad open and they start, okay, number 16 did this, 17 did whatever. And then when they get tired, then they go to break it up.
Yeah.
I get that.
Because like you said, the refs, they don't need to get hurt either. They got jobs.
No.
They don't want to get in there. Or like you're just going to make it worse on yourself getting in there. You already got guys that are pissed off, and then you're getting in the middle, kind of grabbing at the Arrows guy's jersey. Mm-hmm. It just makes it look way worse than that guy doesn't even get a punch because the whole guy that's jerseying him is the ref.
I don't know. It's I got a couple buddies at ref, and I've seen them take punches.
Yeah.
Whether the punches were on purpose at the ref, I don't know. But you see refs get the odd shot every so often. They're in the middle. They're trying to break it up. It's dangerous. I get it.
And like I said, it's a tough job. Like, and the refs are good guys. And like we said, I don't hate the refs, but I just know everybody else. You know, somebody's going to be mad at the end of the day, right? So, but yeah, it's tough. And you know, like there's lack of refs in these kids' games. And then it stinks because then the minor kids get less games now because there's not enough refs. And you know, something's got to change.
Well, like the thing is that like let's say a player did that. What would happen to the player?
That's what I'm getting at. Like,
because like even players can't do that to other players.
No.
So how can a ref who is working for a large organization do that to a whole team, which is in Six Nations is a large organization? We got a lot of lacrosse and talent here.
Emerson Clark, he's on the Bandits. He played a little bit of forward this year, practice squad mostly, but he's an ex-hockey player. Like even went all the way up to Toronto Maple Leafs exhibition games. He was playing for one of the Florida, I think it was an ECHL team, just before COVID, so like February 2020, a whole fight breaks out. The ref's kind of driving him to the penalty box. He jerseyed the ref. It's kind of a little off camera. He got a 16-game suspension. That ultimately, that and COVID, I guess, ended his pro hockey career, and since he's been in the NLL. But
yeah, that's
like
a
you
legend
said,
right there.
Yeah, like you said, you can't really jersey refs and refs.
What more could you want, man? You're a legend at that point.
Yeah.
there was an incident in last night's game. I mean, it's against Brooklyn. Brooklyn and Six Nations Rivermen are a huge rivalry. They are. They have been for a long time. It's almost as big a rivalry as Rivermen and Owen Sound.
Definitely, yeah.
So there was an incident last night. One of our players kind of locked up with one of their players, and they were jostling back and forth. You know, refs are getting in. There's no punches thrown. They're just kind of they locked horns. Again, I was at the other end of the floor. I was down by our bench. The incident happened at the Brooklyn bench. Our guy come out of it with huge red marks on his neck from the ref pulling his jersey, choking him with his own jersey, essentially. When he come out of that, his helmet was twisted. I don't know if the Brooklyn player did it. I don't know if the ref did it. I don't know. On his way by, he tells us there was a racial slur thrown at him, so he threw a punch at the bench. One of the Brooklyn players threw a punch from the bench, and I don't know whether he threw a punch and had his stick in his hand or threw a punch and swung his stick at the same time. I don't know. That's what it looked like from my end. Again, refs may see it different because they were from a different angle. However, in the OSL, all of our games are supposed to be taped. Now, I've asked for the copy of the whole game to see what comes out of this because another one of our guys got an abuse of an official penalty last night and got kicked out of the game. And now after this official walked out, the other official was asked, what did these guys say? Because the player on each side both got the same penalty. Said, what did these guys say to you guys? that I didn't have the conversation. I don't want to mention who did. But the conversation with the remaining official was, what did those guys say to you guys to get this abuse of an official penalty? And the remaining official was like, they didn't say nothing. They were chirping each other. He's like, then how did they get this penalty? So essentially, verbally, I'm told it was wiped. I'm hoping it is. If you go on game sheet, there's no abuse of an official penalty on there by this player. So I mean, stuff like that. Like, how does an official take when if you and I are chirping each other, and Day is reffing? Does he sit back and go, "Oh, you both called me names and threatened to kill me"? We're talking to each other.
Yeah. Like,
but is that how he interpreted it? I don't know. Could an official interpret it like that? Obviously, because it happened.
is he just like when they say the refs, when they start calling everything in, it's like, we're not here to watch you, ref. Does this guy just think everything's about him? And these guys must not be talking to each other. They must be talking to me because everybody must hate me. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. But this same official that walked out, I was told last night too that he also did it in the ALL. He was reffing in the ALL and did the same thing.
Like, we know that's a semi-pro league, so it's like you can't really be almost professionally ref and then doing stuff like that. Like,
that's still kind of like funny to ask a ref like, oh, what did he say? Like, because like in the heat of the moment, like, players will just say the most wildest shit. Like, they'll just be like, I'm going to end you. And it'll be just like, oh, it's on. Like, I can just imagine a player saying the most foulest stuff and a referee would have to repeat it.
I heard that happen.
He said something about dude's mom and, like, you know, like something like that. Like, something stupid.
Like, I heard that happen, that this guy walks off tells the guy, oh, you ref, or whatever happened. But then when I seen the video, I was like, what? Because it looks like he was going to the face-off draw. The next thing you know, it's, you know, he's walking all the way over. Boom. I'm like, what the heck's this guy? Like,
that's just it. Like, what is going through that particular official's head last night? Again, my opinion is probably biased because I'm the GM of the Rivermen.
Yeah.
Do I feel some of his calls were pretty blatant against us?
90 penalty minutes? Was that?
We had one player to 32 penalty minutes himself.
No, that's a lot. And that's like almost like, to have that many, you got to have like a fight, or, you know, I mean, do something crazy, right? Like,
that come out of that little incident where all these guys did was lock horns.
Yeah.
Our player got 32 minutes in penalties.
Yeah, you'd have to run our test, run into the stands or something like that. You'd
and
32 minutes.
The other guy that got, again, I'm hoping that verbally, when I was told his abuse of an official penalty was cleared off the slate, I'm hoping that actually did happen. He had 14 minutes in penalties, not including this abuse of an official call. So we started the second period last night. We were up 4-3 at the end of the first. We started the second period with a 4-3 lead and having to kill a 14-minute penalty. And then through the course of the game, other guys get penalties. We literally played that whole second period shorthanded last night and outscored Brooklyn 6-1 in that period.
And like you said, that's with them having, was Deacon starting?
Deacon not played the whole game.
He's backed up all year, young goalie for Philadelphia Wings, so they don't got no schlub and neck. And,
no, he won the Minto Cup with Burlington last year. He's a good goalie.
Yeah.
He's a really good goalie. I'm told our team's intimidating.
And it's tough because it's almost the same way as, like, last year. I know you had the instance with Senior C, and they were too intimidating, right? Then we would play Masters, and they say, go play Senior C. You know, it's almost like sometimes everybody hates it when Six Nations gets a little, you know, rough and tough, or, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's kind of scared sometimes, right? They tell you this league and this league, but it's like, oh, it's all lacrosse.